Welcome back to Chapter 2 of our series, Negotiate Your Salary Like a Pro. In this episode, titled The Right Moment, When and How to Open the Conversation, we'll explore the best times to bring up salary discussions and the strategies to approach these talks with confidence. So, let's dive in. You finish a huge project. Your boss says, "This was outstanding." And you? Say thanks and move on. According to Gartner, people who speak up for a raise within a few weeks of a big win are about twice as likely to succeed as those who wait. So why do most of us stay quiet? Here's the real trap. Most people treat salary talks like a calendar event instead of a strategy decision. They think, "I'll wait for my annual review," or "I'll bring it up after the holidays," and miss the window when their leverage is highest. Inside most companies, 3 timelines are always running: your track record over the last 3 to 6 months, leadership's budgeting cycle, and how tight or generous the market is right now. When those 3 quietly line up in your favor, your manager can often say yes with far less resistance, and sometimes with more money than you'd reasonably expect. Miss that overlap, and even a supportive boss has little room to move. Here's what this means in practice. The right moment is less about your mood and more about lining up facts your boss can't ignore. Think in 90-day blocks. In any given quarter, you want at least one outcome that changed a number. Revenue up 8%, cost down $30,000, client churn reduced by 12%, tickets closed 20% faster. Then, look 60 to 90 days ahead. When does your team submit next year's headcount or merit recommendations? Ask a peer in finance or HR, when do raises actually get decided here? Your goal is simple: have fresh, quantified wins on the table before that internal deadline hits. Think in terms of 3 green lights you want switched on at the same time: your recent impact, your boss's ability to move money, and the company's appetite to keep people like you. First, your personal timing. The Gartner data is clear. There's a steep drop-off in momentum if you wait months after a major outcome. A practical rule: within 2 to 4 weeks of shipping something meaningful, start the conversation that leads toward a pay discussion. Don't wait for a formal slot. That initial step is often a quick 20 to 30-minute one-to-one. I'd like to debrief the launch and talk about how my role and impact are evolving this quarter. You're not asking yet, you're planting the flag that your scope has changed. Second, line this up with your manager's calendar, not HR's. Your boss usually drafts compensation proposals weeks before any formal review. If your company's review is in March, your manager may be sending numbers to their VP in January. That means your real window to influence the outcome is often 6 to 10 weeks earlier than you think. Explicitly ask, when do you typically submit compensation recommendations? How far in advance do you need supporting results from me to factor them in? If they say, we lock numbers in early October, your key conversations need to happen in August, September, not November. Third, factor in how replaceable you look on paper. When the external market is hot, like ADP's 9.7% median jump for job switchers, retention suddenly becomes cheaper than rehiring. You don't need to threaten to leave, you need to make the retention math obvious. For example, in the last 6 months, I've owned X feature that now drives $240,000 a year. We cut onboarding time by 30%, which frees roughly 200 engineering hours annually. You're quietly answering, what would it cost to lose this and rebuild? One practical pattern that works across industries. 1. Major measurable outcome lands. 2. Within 30 days, you schedule a debrief focused on impact and future goals. 3. In that meeting, you ask, what would it take over the next 60 to 90 days for my compensation to better reflect this level of responsibility? 4. Together, you define 2 to 3 concrete targets. 5. You hit them, then return before their compensation deadline with, we discussed A, B, C. Here's exactly what I delivered. Based on that, I'd like to revisit my compensation for this cycle. At a practical level, the question becomes, what does well-timed actually look like in different environments? Example 1. High-growth startup. You're a PM who just led a launch that increased weekly active users by 18% and added an estimated $420,000 in projected annual revenue. The company raises a new funding round in June and finalizes headcount plans by late July. You'd book a June debrief focused on product impact, then a follow-up in early July. Given the expansion of my scope into growth and monetization, can we talk about aligning my compensation before the new org plan is locked? Example 2. Large enterprise. You're a senior analyst whose model reduced forecast errors from 9% to 3%, saving roughly $275,000 in inventory write-offs. Finance closes next year's budget in October. In August, you schedule a conversation. I'm taking on portfolio-level responsibilities this quarter. What milestones between now and September would position me for a comp adjustment in this budgeting cycle? AI tools will soon flag timing windows for you. Peers in your role just moved from $92,000 to $104,000. Comp proposals lock in 3 weeks. Use that data to prep a one-page brief with 3 to 5 quantified wins, your current pay, and a specific target range, for example, $118,000 to $124,000. Your challenge this week. Map 3 dates: when budgets are set, when your last big deliverable landed, and when your next one-to-one is, and align them intentionally. Your challenge this week. Run a timing stress test. List 3 to 5 deliverables you can land in the next 90 days, then write down 2 dates for each, when it ships, and when you'll discuss impact. Next, ask your manager exactly when they submit numbers. If that's October 5th, aim to have at least one $50,000 to $100,000 impact win on the board by mid-September. This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on owlup.co. Visit owlup.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!